Yeah. You want it, gotta work for that bag, go get it one day, you can brag. You want it, gotta work for that bag, go get it one day, you can brag. I say that I have it, you know that I got it, no need to look all in the bag. Stunting like this cause I work so hard, I'm the best, I only speak facts. In the store, I'm popping them tags, a limited ceiling with stag. Clout chasing for the cash grab, I don't really want it that bad. If I say that I have it, you know that I got it, no need to look all in the bag. Stunting like this cause I work so hard, I'm the best, I only speak facts. In the store, I'm popping them tags, a limited ceiling with stag. Clout chasing for the cash grab, I don't really.
So what's good, y'all? This is the LoveNThangz podcast where we discuss scenarios about love and things, life, and other things. We would love to know how you would handle these scenarios and stories. I'm chilling here with Kira, Joe, and of course, I'm Ty. What's good, y'all? What's good? We're gonna get into today's story because, of course, you know it is a messy one. I always love these stories. I never let the actual crew know the stories until we arrive the second we are talking. So this is their first time hearing it. I hope you guys like it. Y'all ready?
Oh, let's go. I love it. Let's go.
Okay, so let's get started on this story. A doozy. My wife gave birth to a black baby that clearly isn't mine, and I'm divorcing her. I'm worried about the relationship between my two kids and their new half sister. A month ago, my wife gave birth to a black baby girl. We're both white. Y'all didn't expect that to confuse you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was forced to admit that the child was a result of a one night stand last year. Interesting. I started divorce proceedings, although we're still living together now. Between our two aged boys, 2 and 4, I had paternity tests for them and they came back positive. Her infant daughter and her have been living with us because she lost her job due to COVID. We've been living together amicably with the children as possible until the divorce is settled. Yeah. Naturally, I have no ill will towards the baby, and I've been disgusted by some of the comments I've heard from family members, friends, coworkers, and others, all who seem to be fixated on the racial angle of this, as if the most disgusting and disturbing part isn't that my wife cheated, but that she cheated with a black man and that the baby is black. What really worries me is that my two sons might pick up on these narratives. They're too young to really understand what's happening now, but I'm worried that as they grow to understand the situation that they might grow to resent their half sister for breaking up their parents' marriage, one, and the worst thing that the comments might express itself in racist fashion under the influence of the aforementioned narratives. Any thoughts on how I should try to influence my sons away from the perspective? It probably doesn't help that we live in a suburb where there's very few black people and their half sister is really the only black person my children know. Wow.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on this, guys? That's where it ends.
Well, yeah. First up, I can understand the concern about how his fully Caucasian children at 2 and 4 years old at a young age, right now, it's not such an issue, but it's one of those things where a balance going to be, bro. And as they get older, you, wife, living together, it's like a lot of factors. Like, what's the living dynamic going to be? Are you going to have custody of the two fully Caucasian children, and she's just going to be living alone with the half Caucasian child, or he's going to see all three? Like, those are the things that got to come into play. You got to figure those things out. And then with that, what I've noticed about children is that age grow together, because I've seen, children grow with foster children or children grow with adopted children, and there's nothing but love.
Yeah.
They don't even realize that different than I am. So as long as you enforce that dynamic that, hey, this is your sister, you don't need to over explain to children.
Yeah.
Never noticed that are okay with the simplest of explanations. It doesn't take a lot to satisfy a child's curiosity. A lot of curiosity, it can be quelled with simple explanations. You don't have to explain a lot to a kid. And as they grow, okay, fine. Let's say when they get to their teenage years, yeah, they're going to notice, okay, you're a little bit darker than me. Your hair's a little bit curlier than mine. But shit, you're my sister. I don't, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as long as you enforce that dynamic of, yo, this is your sister, You don't have to explain, look, this is your sister, she's half black. You don't got to go through all of that. Enforce a dynamic. This is your sister. You love her. And just let it be that. Now, later on in life, will there be questions? Probably so. Why doesn't she look like us? Why aren't her eyes blue or green like ours are?
Right.
You know? And at that point, sit them down and you have the conversation. But I even think at that point, it's like, and again, that's a conversation you save from when you think they're mature enough to have.
Yeah.
Up until that point, you just say, "Oh, well, look, God makes us all different," or whatever. Just. But then when they get mature enough, you got to have that conversation at some point. Say, "Hey, listen, this is what happened."
Yeah.
And that's
Honestly,
how.
I don't think it's on the father to explain none of that. I think it's up to the dusty ass
No,
mama
it's not.
that
It's
went out
not.
here and did her dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I don't need
Agreed.
to explain nothing. Your mama was the one that went out here and did her dirt. So, like, to me, when I first read the story, I was just like, okay, so he's basically trying to take the responsibility of, like, how do I make sure my sons don't pick up on the negativity that the other family members and friends is talking about. But I'm like, at the end of the day, kids gonna be kids. They gonna listen. They gonna repeat back things that they hear. They're gonna absorb all of that negativity, and you just gotta make sure that they don't do anything to harm that child, like their sister, because that's what it comes to at the end of the day. Like, long as you explain to them, don't put your hands on your sister, even though people talk badly about it, just ignore it and make sure you defend her if you need to. You know what I mean? Because you live in an all-white suburb. Like you said, you live in an all-white suburb.
Yeah.
So the whole thing of it
Yeah.
is like, now she's gonna be, the one thing. I feel bad for the little black girl. I really do, because she's gonna grow up around and she's gonna be
Right.
confused. And
Absolutely.
I've seen those identities, like, when you go through a racial identity because you're raised by another ethnic group, you may not understand, like, what is your blackness, what is your culture, what is it that you need to do to survive and live through this world. When you grow up around amongst black people, we learn from each other. My friend will hold my hand and be like, let's get into this shit together. Like, you know what I mean? It's a big
Yeah.
difference
Right.
from when you by yourself and then people got the best interest, so they're gonna look out for the best interest for you. That's a big difference. So I
Yeah.
mean, I wanna that's my thoughts on it. What do you think, Kira? Messy.
Wow. So what I
What is
was going to
messy?
say is, because the father he's only in the house right now until the divorce is settled. Who knows when that'll be settled? What if this mom's still dealing with this man and she bring this man in? What kind of conversation can you have right there? If mommy bring in this black man in our house or whatever, around these two full Caucasian children, whatever, and they only 2 and 3 years old, how do you explain that to them? I mean, because apparently racism hasn't been talked about in a household, because they were worried about that for when the little girl gets older, or the neighbors see that, okay, she been dibbing and dabbling
She
with a
don't look
black
like the
man or
rest of
whatever.
them. Yeah.
And she,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they explain that if that was to happen? If that black man came over, if he want to come see his child,
Yeah.
or whatever, and they looking like, what the
Yeah.
hell going
What if
on?
he's still in there? What if he's the black man that says, "Hey, hold on, you know what? You pregnant? Oh, well then I need to be around my child." There is so many variables thrown into this equation that
Exactly.
unfortunately, children and that are going to have to deal with. And again, to a certain extent, like you said, the dusty ass mother too. But one thing you got to remember about kids is that kids are going to throw those questions at to the person they feel most comfortable with asking.
Right.
So even though it was a dusty ass mother that did all of this, they might have that dynamic with their father. So they won't ask her. They'll go to him. Hey, Pop, listen, what's up with our sister? We love her, but we're starting to notice that, I don't know, do we have grandparents that are different than us? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, they will act, but they're gonna ask those questions to the person they're most comfortable with. And me personally, God forbid I should ever be in that type of situation. But I don't, if my kids come to me with a question like that, that's a serious question.
Yeah.
Given that my wife did, I wouldn't trust her enough to say to my kids, "Hey, go talk to your mother about that." You know what
Oh,
I
you saying you
mean?
wouldn't trust her enough to go say talk to your mother? She created the situation. That's why I will point it back to her. I'm
She
like, she
did.
made this a
She
mess.
did,
Yeah, she
Right.
made this a mess. It
but
wasn't a mess before.
she did. Right. But I rather be the one to have that conversation with them as
Okay.
opposed to putting it on her. Because again, if she, like you said, if she's dusty enough to go out there and do that to begin with,
Facts.
who knows what she's going to tell those kids?
You know,
Oh, well, your father
Exactly.
was treating me like garbage, and so I found a man that treated me just fast. He doesn't
I
look
was
like
about to
us.
go in
You
there,
know what I'm
Joe. I was
saying?
Right.
about to go into that because
Right.
that's the first thing I thought of when I read it. She went out here and had a affair a year ago, right? What happened? I need to know why. Why she felt so like, oh, I need to go.
Right.
Because,
She
to
may have her
me,
reasons, of course.
they was on a road to divorce. If she went out here and did her thing, with a black man, she had the opportunity. She created the opportunity, and it probably wasn't just a one off. It probably was something that happened. What is the chances? I'll never forget high school when they first taught us about sex. They're like, it could take only one time, but then you did it 500 times. And you're like, I still didn't get pregnant yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
more than
Yeah,
just one time. So this probably was something that was going on for quite a while, unbeknownst to the
yeah,
husband. And when she asked him and felt the pressure on her neck, she probably was like, "Oh, it was a one-off. It was a one-off," and you just so happened not
right.
to
Listen,
do
it
the
was just
math
that
and not
one
know it
time.
wasn't your baby's father or your husband's. That's crazy to me.
It,
So I
it,
want to know
it
what
was the
happened in
company
that
Christmas
relationship.
party. I got a little drunk. Whatever.
Oh no, I was gonna say let's not forget the dad said he had to have paternity tests on 2 boys also. So
Yeah,
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, we don't know. This is being told from the husband's perspective. We don't know what the wife went through or what she was feeling or what was wrong in their marriage. I mean,
right.
things happen. But, I'm of the whole, and I don't know, maybe it's idealistic, but if it's that bad, and I know look, I've been married for almost 21 years coming up in May.
Yeah.
And it's easier in most situations, people can say, "Oh, well, you should have just left if you felt that it wasn't." But
Mhm.
given your situation, sometimes it's easier said than done. Now, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I don't
Yeah.
condone going outside your marriage if things aren't right.
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 But at the same time, you can't judge. Yeah, I'm not going to judge. What people do and why they do it. So it's so much in this situation that could have been, that could have gone wrong that you don't know.
A
You
question.
know
So
what I
much
mean?
that
I'm gonna
Because
could have
be
it's
gone
told
wrong.
from
messy.
his
Something did go
perspective.
I'm gonna
wrong.
be messy,
Too much
Joe.
went wrong.
I'm about to be messy. I want to know, Joe. You that father? Your
Come on, be
your wife
messy.
come home with
Mhm.
that white baby. You gonna be like, let's work through this. You staying?
Oh, hell no. Nah, hell no. Listen,
Kara.
you take Casper and you go on about your biz.
Oh
You
my God.
find his daddy and you work it out. I'm sorry, and I say that because of me,
Yeah.
who I am. Look, listen, you know, for the sake of the conversation, I am the husband who I am now. I'm that husband, and my wife comes in with a baby that's have something else that's not me. I'm like, oh nah, nope. There's nothing to work out here. I've been everything that I could have possibly been to you. I never stepped out. I was always here. I'm trying to be father of the decade. I'm trying to be husband of the decade. I've done all that.
Hmm.
Perfect, but hey, like I said, I've never done anything to deny your trust, and this is what you gotta do to me. Nah, I'm out. Bye.
You out?
I'm 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 I'm
There's
gone.
some dumb
Nope,
girl
there's
out
nothing.
guy out there that would be like, you know what? Let's see what happened. Like, like I'm sorry. Like I'm not saying
Oh,
dumb, but there's
Let's
some guy out there that's gonna be like, let me just ride this out, and I love her. Like, it's some guy out there that would stay. I don't know
right.
who. Because I would be out
And
too. If a guy came
Right.
home right now with a baby and be like, "Oh, this is my baby I made with blankety blank," well, you better go find blankety blank and good luck to y'all. Because
Blink
you getting out of my house. Yeah.
the blankety blank life with
and y'all
blankety
have
blank.
fun. And
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah, I
have
feel
fun with
like
that.
I'm not for it.
Listen, I had a few years ago, a close friend of mine, found out that, his wife was out there. Okay.
Hmm.
And, when he found out, he was devastated. She didn't get pregnant, didn't have a child. But this is his wife of almost 10 years at this point. They've had two beautiful children together. Both of their careers were blossoming. Everything was apparently going great. For him to find out that, wow, she was out there with somebody. So when it all came out, his first impression was like, yeah, well, we're selling the house. We're getting, I don't know where she's going to go, but I know I'm selling the house. I'm going to try and get custody of the kids, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, listen, whatever you decide to do, man, it's your choice. You got to do what's best for you. Don't
Yeah.
listen to the white noise, man. Just do what you feel.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stay what I look like. If I look like a fool, I look stupid. Blah, blah, blah. I said, look stupid to who? I said, look stupid to who? You can't care about what the outside finds. A couple of months go by. Yeah, well, she's coming back home, and we're going to talk and see what's what. Do I look stupid? I said, no, you don't look stupid. I can't judge your situation. So the long story short is that after everything was all said and done, they ended up, because they used to live close by me. They ended up selling the house because it was a big thing. So he couldn't take living in the neighborhood knowing what his wife did. So they moved. They're still together. They bought a home someplace else, and they're working it out. And
Really
it was one of
good.
those things with me, yeah, with me and my wife. We were like, yeah, how are we supposed to feel about this? And I'm like, listen,
I know, because did you guys pick a side? I want to know now. You see me sipping my tea. Did you pick a
at
side?
well,
Yeah, right.
see, the funny thing was at first, like, because we mutually know both of them. It's not
Yeah.
like he was my friend
Yeah.
and we met him, or she was her friend. We met them both together.
Got you.
So it was like, yeah, so it was like, oh, that was so wrong, but she's such a sweet person, and you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
said, listen, if I said, look, I'm not trying to pick a side, because at the end of the day, quite honestly, we know them, but we don't know what was going on in that house when those doors were closed
Right.
and those windows were drawn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
So I said, at the end
Yep.
of the day, yeah. I said, listen, at the end of the day, if they decide to stick it out, we'll stick it out with them.
Yeah.
I
Kira,
said, if
what's your
that's what they
thoughts?
decide. And then like,
Kira, what's your thought? You
yeah.
staying? Your man come in with a baby, and he say, "Oh, this my little, Chinese
No,
baby that I had with."
no, he
You
could get him
staying?
and that little Asian baby. They could go over to Hong Kong. They could go over Japan, wherever he made that little Asian baby at, or whatever. And he could take him and that baby and
Oh,
take it over
wow.
to his mama, the grandparents, whatever. But you're not coming in here with that baby. They ain't my baby. And I wanted to say, if I was the wife, I'm gonna put this out here. First off, that baby would have never made it.
I was
That
thinking the
baby,
same thing. I would have been at the chop shop the next day. Like, I
See,
don't know which
that's
one it
another
is.
thing.
I don't
It's
know which
like,
one it
that
is,
baby
right?
wouldn't have made it. That
and my
baby
thing
would
is,
have not
look,
made it, and my husband would have not known, and we would have been a happy family, as just happy as we was going to be, or whatever. He wasn't going to know.
because one thing I know about women, is y'all know y'all body.
For
And
real.
y'all know what y'all did, when you did it, who you did it with, what date it was, what time it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's another thing. Like, was she so invested in this outside man that she just said, you know what?
I'm gonna do it.
I don't care whose baby it is. I'm going to
Right.
have it if it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
where was her head at that she just said, well, me and my husband were doing things in March and I did things with him in March. So when we had that December baby, flip the coin. Let's, like,
What
where's
was she
her head at?
thinking? Yeah, I don't know. So
Like
another
that
thing
she's
is,
so bold.
yeah, that's some
Hey,
balls.
Right.
that
That's
So
some balls.
it
I'm having
definitely
it.
the divorce was already about to be over, and she just was like, "Forget it. It
That
is what it's going to
that's
be."
could have been part of
It,
the dynamic right there.
but you couldn't
But
wait
looking at
till
it,
the
yeah.
divorce was over.
Right. But
Nah,
looking at it from that perspective, it's like, all right, well, we just talking about a divorce now. Let me go up here to this clinic and clear this out so we can,
I want to,
I don't know. Like,
touch on, I want to touch on what may have been happening behind closed doors because I'm gonna let you know, Joe. Like I was married for a long time, and what was happening behind closed doors was responsibilities and boring talk, okay? And I wish I was like,
Yeah.
advocate for you for marriage and happiness and joy. I'm not.
mm,
So I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm toxic as can be, like as toxic as I can be. I never forget my husband. I came
yeah,
home one day and I work in a job where like there's guys surrounding me. Construction workers
mm,
everywhere. The guys are all
mm,
as a plethora. You hear me? A plethora of men. And you have your work husband, you got your friends, you got your people, you got to start building a camaraderie. You know everybody business, they know yours. And I'm like, I used to tell my husband all the time, I'm like, I'm working late, I'm working late, I'm working late. I'll see you when I see you. Because we at the
mm,
bars, we at the strip clubs, we hanging out, we friends. Like we doing everything out here in New York City world, right? And I would go
oh
home
wow,
and I would walk my big toe, not even get through the door completely. I would just picking my big toe over the threshold of my front door. And my husband be like, on the kids, and you won't believe what this happened, and you won't believe. And I would hear bills and responsibility, and I'd be like, yo, where the fuck was I a minute ago? I was hanging with my people, and I was chilling, and I
you
was
was
having
having a
me a
good
good old
time.
time. And I'm like, and then I
Yeah.
come in here, and he boring me to death with responsibilities and bills, and the same positions every day. And I got things to do. I gotta go. Like, and I would be that way, and I would be
So
just that
Yeah.
cold to tell him to his face, like, I just left a bar. Do you need me to go back there? Because you just made me sober. When I walked through this door, you just
wow,
immediately sucked me to
really?
sober. Like, with all of these. And to me, I used to always say this, and it used to be so bad. I know I was bad because I would be like, I need a good 20 minutes before you could talk to me when I walk through the door because you're fucking exhausting. Like it was that toxic for me to come from an
Right.
environment where I'm having so much of a thrill of a day. Even my work day was surrounded with like jokes, ha ha he's going and back and forth, like, my bosses and, sitting in those rooms in the conference rooms and having such
Yeah.
a good camaraderie and then going home and be like, hi, I'm responsibilities. This is what I need you to do. The kids need the doctor's appointment schedule. This
Yep.
insurance card didn't work. And I'm like,
Okay. All
Yep.
right. There's nothing wrong with coming up. Okay. Here's my thing. I'm a
everything would be
big
on me. Everything would be on me to fix it because I'm the wife. And I'm like, I don't want to be this no more. I
Because
don't
you're
want to
the
be here
wife.
no more.
that
I
that
don't
Right.
want to
that
be here
that
no
shouldn't
more.
be the case.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That shouldn't be the case. But advocate of, you know, when all right, for instance, when I come in the
I
house,
stumped you, Joe.
yeah. No, no. Because it's just something for and forgive how this may sound for a woman to have that perspective. But I
I was,
get it.
but I told you before, I'm raised like a man. My father used to always tell me, "You just like my son," because as a son, I'm the son he never had because I've never been like the day of my marriage, the day of my wedding. The day of my wedding, I was sitting there. I think I was on. I had maybe about 4 shots, and somebody gave me like two muscle relaxers, and I was sitting there slumped over in my chair. My father said,
Oh
you getting
wow.
married today?" And he said to me, my father said to me, he said, "You all right?" I said, "Mm-hmm."
Yeah.
He said, "You getting married today?" I said, "Where he at?" I don't even know what the man looked like. Where he at? And I grew up with this man. I knew him since 13. And I just was I was so out of my mind, already drunk
Mhm.
and off my shit. My father was like, "You should have never got married." That day I saw you sitting in that church slumped over like that. I was like, that girl ain't getting married to
Shit.
nobody. He thought I was gonna run the opposite.
I thought I was bad on my goddamn wedding day. Jesus Christ. At least I was like,
like
okay, that's
fried.
all right, I'm good.
I don't even know if I married the priest or my
You know?
husband that day.
You didn't know who you just looked at the person standing there, was like, is this a Jew? Okay, let's do
Like,
this.
oh, that's what
He's
you look
standing in front of me crying, and I'm
like.
standing there like, what's
Let's
wrong
hurry
with
up
you?
and
You
get this
good?
shit and go to
I
reception.
I was sipping my thing. I took a sip and I said, you all right? Why are you crying? And he said, because you look so beautiful. And I said, for what? What I got on? And I looked down, I was like, oh, I got a white dress on. I was like,
God
I was
damn,
out of
Ty.
my mind
Jesus
drunk.
Christ.
Yeah, I was bad. I was like, I don't know what this man talking
Oh
about.
boy.
Yeah. And then he was like, do you? And I'm like, I sure enough do.
Unbelievable. But
I
yeah,
sure enough do.
like you like, hey, let's go. Come on,
I
let's get
wish
this
I was
done.
like that on my wedding day.
I was toasted.
It's
Toasted.
so
I
funny.
was happy.
My wedding day was good. And it was so funny because like me and my wife, we, you know how they say you put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Me and my wife and I, we had our first child, we bought our first home, then we got married.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
You guys were all
and
kind of order.
our wedding,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what the funny thing was? It was like organized confusion because we knew what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We had it. We were good. And I remember in our wedding was huge. We had like 10 bridesmaids and 10 groomsmen. We had
Oh,
the three
wow.
flower children. It was huge.
Wow.
And I'll never forget, like the night before our wedding, I had all of the groomsmen come and stay at our house that we had. And we went to stay at her mother's house, which was like 5 minutes away with her and the majority of the bridesmaids. And the day of the wedding, that Saturday morning, it was raining. It was pouring when we all woke up. And I remember around like noon, the sun started to come out. So we're all getting dressed. And I had everybody at the house because I want everybody out. Here's your tuxes, here's your shoes, blah, blah, blah.
It
And
was
my cousin, who was
organized.
my best man, yeah, we were getting it done. So my cousin, who was my best man, was like, well, we got to do some shots before the wedding. Let's take a shot. 7 shots later, we're like, all right, it's time to get to the church now. So we're all at the church. We were tore down, holding it together. It was hilarious, but it was the best thing. So when you sit up here, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't even know who he was or this and that. That just takes me back. It takes me back. It was hilarious.
You should see. I was 20. I think I was 21. I had just turned 21. We got married. Oh no, we got married in May, same month as you. May. We would have been 24 years married. He passed away last year. It, He passed away last year. But if that man was alive to tell you the story, he would like, this girl was off her rocker. She stood in front of me and then on a camcorder. I said, I guess I got married today, but I don't know what the big deal is. And that's what I said. I was like, I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah.
I'm like, we already live
Are
together.
you
It ain't no
serious?
big whoop. And I went right home and I was like, I got right in the car, drove myself home. I was like, okay, I guess we done. We married now, huh? You know that part of the scene where she goes, I'm married
dear.
now. I was like, I'm
I'm
married
married
now.
Yeah.
now.
I guess that means something to somebody, but not me, because I was like, I'm still gonna do me on the
Right.
street. But I'm
Christ, man.
but I'm like the
Oh
wife. I
my
do
God.
understand that. I'm like Kira. I would have been at the chop shop because you would have never seen the light of day and nobody would have never knew nothing about it. I was maybe too
Right.
bold and
Yeah.
honest about whatever I did though. I think that was my biggest problem. I'm probably the reason that man's gone. But I said I'll give it to God. But I said it.
Oh.
Cause no lie, I would be distressful. I'm toxic. So I would say it. I would come in the door and I'm like, I'm bored. Cause you sitting here, wanting to watch, HGTV and Lifetime and movies and I gotta go. I'm gonna be at the bar across the
Mm-hmm.
street and I would leave. I would leave him right in Elizabeth where he was sitting.
And you would express that to him? You
And
would
I would
say
go to
that to
yes,
him?
absolutely. I'm a very honest person. That's why I'm like, I could be like,
Which
Kara could tell you, I'll tell you straight from the cup, like what it is and what I'm doing. I don't care. Like, I don't, who are you? I'll do what I want.
okay.
Like, that's how I am. But
Wow.
love me or hate me, I'm just still gonna be me. But,
Yeah.
um, I'm right there. I'll get back to the story because yeah, I got some
I
stories. But
I
I'm
get
I'm
that.
I'm right there with like I'm right there with the wife. Like I wouldn't have given birth to nothing. It wouldn't have been no baby, and he would have never known
Yeah,
nothing because I would have had that conversation with him, but I would have told him in the same sentence. I'm like I need to go to the doctor's office because something happened and it was a little hiccup. So I'll be back in about
yeah.
3 hours, and I would
And that's
Right.
another thing. Like, did
that would
did
have been
did,
it.
did, did the side dude, did he know what was going? It's so much in that
Right.
scenario that I'm just like, wow, like
He
who
had
knew
to
what?
know.
Who was
He had
expecting
to
what?
know. He had
Yeah,
to know something. I wouldn't think that he
yeah,
would be
I,
that stupid that he like she pulled the wool over his eyes that badly. I would hope
yeah,
I
not.
yeah.
believe I believe he knew. I believe he knew
Oh,
Yeah,
something. That's
right?
why he said he had to get the paternity test on the other boys because they ain't her first rodeo.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's true too. It's like all right, he must know he knew she was grimy. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that
But
is such a wow,
so I do want to say
such a crazy thing.
it's a crazy story, right? I like these little
Yeah.
messy
Right.
stories. I like these messy scenarios and what people get themselves in because we think about it
Yeah.
because we like hello we don't live that messy life. But if you look at the day to day,
Mhm.
like how everything played out, she waited 9 months to be like, I'm gonna push this baby out.
Yes.
I've seen memes like that, and I'm like, who is this idiot that didn't know the whole time that she might possibly be, pregnant by somebody else? Like, how do you not realize
Oh, she
Pregnant.
that you do the
definitely
math
knew.
and be like, the math ain't math? And
Oh,
like you said, women know their bodies, so she should have sat there
women
and
know.
calculated to the day
Yes.
and the time and be
Yes.
like, well, I know I was
Yep.
not with him on that Saturday or that Friday,
Definitely.
Yep.
unless she was grimy
Definitely.
enough
Yep.
to be with both of them on that Friday and Saturday.
Maybe
That's a
she
whole
was
other
with him at
conversation.
3 o'clock and her husband at 6 o'clock.
It,
I don't know.
exactly.
He's like,
Exactly.
I
Just like I
showered.
heard of
Yeah.
twins having separate. Right. I showered.
Yeah. Like
Just
I
like
took
I
a
heard of
shower, so
twins
it's all
having
good.
separate fathers.
Facts. I'm like, that's nasty, but hey, do you,
Yeah.
boo? Whatever
Listen,
you got.
it
That's
is
crazy.
not. Listen, like I
Whatever
said,
floats your boat. Just don't.
I have a family. Like I have a large family, and the majority of the people in my family are women. So I sit back and I look at a lot of my cousins, and I'm like, I'm a man. They make me blush.
Oh, really?
So I'm just like, every time I sit with them, have a conversation, I'm like, yo, can y'all just stop talking right now? Just give me
Stop.
5 seconds to get out the room.
Right.
Let me walk out. I'm like, wait, you did what? But that was the night that I was. Oh, I don't even want to talk
I don't want to
anymore.
know. I
So
don't want to know no more. That's how
yeah,
it be.
yeah.
That's how
So
it
I'm just
be.
like,
Right. And I'm
nothing
not.
about women shocks me anymore.
But I do want to ask, would
You
you
know,
rather have she been honest and say, hey, this is what the story is, or would you rather she lied to you like homeboy and then have to file for divorce a whole year after a pregnancy? Think about it. He rubbed that belly. He don't kissed it, probably talked to it and everything.
no,
Oh.
I'd want to know. Listen, I want to know. Like I said, I
Oh.
said rub the belly and kissed it. No, tell me from the jump when you get that first bump. Tell me what's what. Tell me
Yeah,
what the
right?
possibility is,
Yep. That it
because
was a possibility.
I'm a practical person, and I'm like, all right, well, I got to plan my life from here on out because if this comes out to be the wrong shade of baby, you're definitely out. But even if it comes out to be the right shade of baby, we're gonna have a discussion about how your out is gonna be.
Yeah,
You know what I
that right
mean? Because
there.
you
That right
know,
Right.
there.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, if
she
it's
messed
mine,
up.
it's mine. But you're no longer mine, and I'm no
Right.
longer yours. So yeah, because it's one of those things that sooner or later, and you know, sometimes, not often, but sometimes men will be like, something about this child I'm not feeling connected with. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if let's say she was messing around with one of her own. For men are like, yeah, like I've had cousins come to me like, yo, can I talk to you about something? What do you think about my son? Oh, my little cousin? What? I love him. What's up? I don't know. What are you feeling? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just not feeling that connect. So, people that say, women just have intuition. No, men have intuition as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But men don't voice it as much or at all unless they're 100% positive about it. So it's a lot, because I'm like, yeah, nah, if I'm not feeling it, or I know you've been grimy, yeah, we're gonna get a deal. So what? He's the same shade as I am, but we're gonna go get some tests done and go from there.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah, he definitely knew it was a possibility that she got pregnant.
Because he knows his wife was grimy.
Time. Here we go, another paternity test. But being that he stayed in that relationship. Right. He stayed in that relationship because she was doing it to him before.
She got 2
weeks. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
That's a hell of a straw.
So that's why I say
like, God damn.
That's why I said
all right.
The divorce papers probably was already in the making. He probably said
he had them already. He had them papers all written up.
Right.
It was like all right.
Exactly. He had them all written up, and he said, "If this ain't my baby, when you come home from the hospital, here go your divorce papers." Then he seen the color. He was like, "Oh no, here these papers go right here. Here these papers go. They already signed. You can take these." So I've been in a kind of similar situation, but she is it because my baby, she came out like a white baby. Now we both black, we both dark, and we both have dark complexion. I'm darker and whatever. And that girl had the nerve to come out looking like oh my God, did he?
But of course, you
even
had
family members was
you knew that.
Yeah, I knew, but then I'm just like, I gotta argue back and forth. Like,
like how does this happen?
And that's what, and a lot of people was wondering, like, how did that happen? Like, you got this little white baby with this black hair or whatever. And I'm like, I promise y'all, she is mine. I think that's the one I seen came from up of me because I did have a C-section or whatever, stuff like that. So I think that's the one that's mine or whatever. So they was questioning because I'm dark, we dark, and we got this little
yellow baby.
Little Caucasian looking baby. Right. Oh no, not even. Was she yellow? She like kind of yellow now, brown skin now. So I'm like, phew, thank God.
Okay, she done cooked a little bit.
Because if you would have stayed like that, then
she grew into her color.
Also, even she grew into her color. Even the my oldest daughter, the same way, but she didn't come out as light as this one though. She came out light, but not as light as this one. So they say something about jaundice when it came out, but
okay.
They like, are you sure you didn't sleep with no white man? I'm like, never in my life.
Like, no.
Never in my life.
Have I ever slept with anyone outside of me?
No, she's mine.
Never in my life.
But you see that a lot with black families. You see that a lot with black families.
Yeah, because it can skip generations. I mean, like, both of my grandparents are like, brown skin, and my mother is like yellow. You know what I mean? But my mother's face is just like my grandmother's face.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
And she has my grandfather had light brown eyes, and my mother has like light brown eyes. And my father is as dark as night, and my mother is yellow, but I look just like my mother. But then as I got older, like, you look just like your father, but I got my mother's eyes. So it can go as yellow can be as dark as night. But, people say you look like your mother. And as I get older, they're like, no, you look and act just like your father. But see, my father's father was Portuguese. So it's like I got that. So it's a whole, you don't know who's what nowadays. So anything can happen.
Okay, so now since that you saying all of that and you bring that up, what if that is his baby? What if they have some black in them and down in their DNA?
It's listen, it's possible.
Well, he needs to still go take a test.
Yeah, maybe he need to go do a 23andMe. I don't know.
I know.
But she confessed and said she had a one night stand a year ago. She confessed.
Oh, so she already laid it out. Like,
Oh yeah.
So he already know, like, this ain't mine, because she
That do
already
equal
confessed
up to
to
the
having
9
an
months.
affair with a black
yeah.
man. And I'm like, to me, once you go black, you never go back. So I don't know if brother gonna ever be able to,
Yeah,
keep
she
up.
gonna go right back to Big Brother. That's what she gonna go back
Yep.
to.
Facts.
And that's what
let's raise our daughter together.
And that's that case, because right.
Mm-mm.
That's what if the see his baby and he want to be in a relationship, what you gonna tell them to little?
Yeah, that's wow.
That's gonna be something. That's a conversation.
You
I'd
got
love to
things
be
to
a fly on the
explain.
wall when that happened. I would love to be a fly on the wall when that happened. I need to
Right.
be there. I need to
Popcorn
hear
and
the
everything.
words
Like, yeah, I
said.
need to see this.
Yeah.
Right. Because I would like to know what the father will explain to them. I don't know. People like, yeah, well, your mother slept with a black. This what happened. You got a little sis.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the mother, I don't know, and the mother, who knows how they explain it, to be on the wall to see how the father would explain that to the boys.
So there you go. That's what we would do with this situation and scenario. This is the LoveNThangz podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe. Join us on our next segment while we discuss another messy scenario and story. And don't forget, you can always send your story to us at loveandthangz@gmail.com. That's love, LOVE, and AND, thangs, THANGZ @gmail.com. Feel free to come back and join us again. Thank you so much. I'm here with Kira and Joe, and I'm Ty. Peace, guys.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah. Good night, guys. Sorry.
Later.
Bye.
Yeah. You want it, gotta work for that bag. Go get it one day, you can brag. You want it, gotta work for that bag. Go get it one day, you can brag. I say that I have it, you know that I got it. No need to look all in the bag. Stunting like this, cause I work so hard. I'm the best, I only speak.